You know, every time you flip a light switch, you're tapping into this incredibly complex machine, one of the biggest ever built. But what's really interesting is that right now, behind the scenes, there's a quiet revolution happening, and it's all being driven by one thing: data.
I mean, we've all been there, right? The lights flicker and then just die during a storm. Or maybe you get a bill in the mail that makes absolutely 0 sense. Well, it turns out these aren't just random annoying things that happen. They're actually symptoms of a much bigger, much deeper issue.
For gosh, the better part of a century, our power grid has basically been a one-way street. Power flows from a plant, down all these wires, and right into our homes. That's it. It's a system that's been almost entirely analog, which really just means it can't talk back. It has almost no ability to communicate or respond to what's happening. And as the World Bank points out, this old design is the root cause of a whole list of chronic, persistent problems.
So let's break that down. What are these problems exactly? I have a feeling they're going to sound pretty familiar to you.
Yeah, this is pretty much the greatest hits of grid frustrations. You get those unexplained outages because half the time the utility has no idea there's a problem until your lights are already out. Your bills can be wildly inaccurate because someone only comes to read the meter once a month, if you're lucky. And trying to find a fault, or a broken meter, or even someone stealing energy, it's all this slow, after-the-fact process that just puts a ton of stress on the whole system.
But what if the grid could talk? I mean, what if every single point in that massive network could report back on its status in real time? Well, that's the big promise behind what we're calling the smart meter revolution.
The core tech that makes this all happen is called Advanced Metering Infrastructure, or AMI for short. And if there's one phrase you should remember, it's two-way communication. This is the game changer. It's not just about power flowing to you anymore. Now it's about information flowing back to the utility, creating this constant digital conversation.
And when you put it side by side like this, you really see how massive this leap is. I mean, we're going from a meter that gets a look maybe once a month to one that's sending a constant stream of data. The little box on the side of your house goes from being just a dumb piece of hardware to a truly intelligent sensor on this huge network. And that shift, well, it changes everything. We go from reacting to problems to actively getting ahead of them.
And this quote from the World Bank source material, it nails it. Situational awareness, that's the key. For the very first time, utility companies can see a complete live picture of the entire grid's health, all the way from the power plant, down every line, right to your house.
Okay, so having tons of data is great, but data by itself is just noise, right? The real magic is turning all that noise into useful information that can actually stop problems before they start. So how does that actually work?
It's actually a pretty straightforward process, but it's incredibly powerful. First, all this high-resolution data streams in from the smart meters. Then, a software system is constantly running checks on it, based on rules the utility sets up. It's looking to see if anything goes above or below certain thresholds. And if it finds any little deviation, boom, that triggers an exception or an alert, and the utility gets notified automatically, instantly.
A great way to think about it is like a digital detective, one that never, ever sleeps. It's just constantly sifting through all the evidence, pouring in from thousands of meters, looking for that one tiny clue that hints at a much bigger problem.
All right, so let's look at some of those clues in action. This is the really cool part. These are some real-world examples from the source material that show how this digital detective work actually solves the kind of problems we can all recognize.
First up, the big one, the holy grail, really, finding a problem and fixing it before it causes an outage.
And this right here is a perfect illustration. So what you're seeing is a snapshot of meter data. The system can see that it's getting a voltage reading from one of the power lines, but the current is 0. That is a massive red flag. It's basically screaming that there's a technical fault happening right now. In the old days, nobody would have a clue until everything went dark. Now, a crew can be sent out to fix it immediately, before you even notice.
Okay, next mystery for our digital detective. What do you do when a meter just goes silent?
This zero consumption alert is another one of those critical clues. It could mean a few things. Is the meter broken? Has someone illegally bypassed it to steal power? Or is the house just empty? Whatever the answer is, it's an anomaly that the utility absolutely needs to know about to keep its record straight and its network healthy.
All right, now for something that really hits close to home for a lot of us. That dreaded, heart-stopping moment when you open a shockingly high electricity bill. Look at this. The system has automatically flagged a bill as inflated.
It caught a reading that was way out of line before the bill was even created, let alone mailed out. Think about that. This stops customer frustration before it starts, saves everyone time on angry phone calls, and actually builds trust. It's customer service that's truly proactive.
And for our last case file, let's get into some real, straight-up detective work. Catching someone who's actively trying to cheat the system.
So get this, smart meters often have physical sensors built right in, and this is a perfect example of what they can do. You can see right here on the log that the system flagged a cover open event, and it's time-stamped down to the exact second. That's an immediate, automated red flag for potential tampering. It gives the utility the digital proof they need to help fight energy theft.
So when you start putting all these little pieces together, you really begin to see the bigger picture taking shape. This isn't just about fixing a few small problems here and there. This is about fundamentally redesigning our entire relationship with energy.
So why does this all matter? Well, the bottom line is that all of this data analytics leads to huge real-world benefits. For us, it means fewer outages. For the utilities, it means lower costs, because they can optimize the network they have instead of just constantly overbuilding it. It all adds up to happier customers and a grid that's smarter, more efficient, and way more resilient for all of us.
And really, that's the end goal, isn't it? We're finally moving away from this brittle, kind of dumb 20th century system and building an intelligent, responsive network that can actually handle the complex energy demands of tomorrow.
So, this revolution is making our world more efficient, more reliable. That's great, but it's all built on a mountain of incredibly detailed personal data. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. What does it mean when the company that sends you your power bill might also know your daily routine better than your own neighbors? When they know exactly when you wake up, when you cook dinner, and when you finally turn out the lights to go to sleep?